the royal family would not be coming to Harry's rescue. They would not be funding a divorce to any extent. And they, at this point, wouldn't really care what Meghan tried to say or...
How does she see the children's, and she's put the children's in inverted commas, time being split between them, and how does she think their lives will be if...
They said the palace had finally turned the page, yet somehow the next chapter wrote itself. This isn't another eye roll over a speech or a sideways line on a podcast. This is a rumor that refuses to sit quietly, the kind that makes royal watchers lean closer. The claim is simple to repeat and hard to dismiss. Some say Meghan Markle's past includes a chapter that never made the timeline, a chapter pointing to an adult daughter now around 30. If true, it would flip the script, reframe the image of late motherhood, and turn managed stories into questions. Supporters push back, reminding everyone that gossip grows in blank spaces. Critics insist the whispers connect too neatly to ignore. Both sides agree, if a piece is missing, it won't stay hidden forever. Until something concrete appears, every silence reads like a clue, and every clue reads like a warning today. On paper, the path looks tidy. High school in Los Angeles, talk of a gap year spent on discovery. Then Northwestern and the steady march toward cameras and red carpets. Inside that arc sits a 12-month silence that fans and skeptics have pulled apart. Supporters say not every pause leaves footprints. Most people don't keep a scrapbook for plane stubs they never saved. Others highlight the absence of exchange paperwork, travel snapshots, or classmates who remember a trip abroad. That vacuum has become the internet's favorite workspace. Threads map dates, interviews, and quotes. Timelines are drawn, erased, and drawn again. Even small details are weighed like evidence. A single year shouldn't matter this much, but stories are built on continuity, and continuity is exactly what the rumor challenges. If the so-called ghost year was quiet exploration, an explanation would deflate the noise. If it wasn't, the silence will echo loudly. The version repeated most often fits like a puzzle. It imagines a quick Las Vegas ceremony off the strip. Two young people making an impulsive choice, and an annulment filed so fast the ink barely had time to dry. From there, rumor adds a twist, a pregnancy that followed, handled privately, aligning neatly with the missing year. People cite whispers about records in Clark County, and argue that a sealed file, if it exists, would explain the lack of details. Others respond that privacy rules, clerical decisions, or requests from those not seeking fame can also restrict access. Both sides use the same absence to make opposite points. Responsible voices note the obvious. There is no available document that settles the matter. That fact keeps the language cautious. Phrases like reports claim, some allege, and rumors suggest are not hedges for drama. They're the way to discuss a story unverified. The human angle is why the chatter refuses to fade. If a child from that time existed, they would be about 30 today with a life far from cameras. That possibility reframes every curated image from Montecito. Late motherhood would no longer be the prologue, it would be chapter 2, and that would change how fans read the story. To admirers, none of this would erase work around voice, opportunity, and representation. Privacy is a right, and not every moment belongs to an audience. To critics, a hidden branch of the family tree looks like a deliberate omission that undercuts a brand built on openness. Both interpretations can't be true, yet both can feel persuasive. And if the rumor extends further, toward whispers that the adult child may have a child of their own, the narrative shifts, raising a question. How much of a public figure's family map is the public's business? Everything lands on Harry too. He left a regimented life and chose partnership, stepping away from palaces and protocol to build something on his own terms. A rumor like this adds a layer of pressure to that decision. Some see him as the Rock, protecting his home and refusing to feed the fire. Others paint him as the last to know, a man who bet everything on love and now faces a twist he never saw coming. Even if the claim collapses under scrutiny, the optics spark hot takes, late night jokes, panel debates, and headlines wondering if he looks stunned or stubborn. He has said his priority is his family. That stance makes this moment intense, because silence shaped by duty can still read as shock, and a statement shaped by care can read as confession. Either way, the spotlight finds him and the frame tightens when emotions run high. Step back and watch the machine. One stray line becomes a headline. The headline becomes a thread, and the thread mutates into a dossier that looks authoritative even when it isn't. Names of relatives and former acquaintances get tossed in as seasoning. A Vegas chapel is treated like a character, and a possibly sealed record becomes the star prop. Neutral details are recast as clues. Hints are treated like receipts. It is the perfect storm for a story that feeds on attention, because every detail is elastic enough to stretch across 1,000 screens. Creators build timelines, splice old interviews, and frame pauses as revelations. Then a panel show cites the compilation, and a new cycle begins with louder certainty and the same evidence. In that echo chamber, cautious language feels dramatic, but without verifiable documents, the loudest voice amounts to speculation, and speculation needs a label to stay honest. There's also the business layer we can't ignore. Public figures today operate like startups. The story is the product, and consistency is the promise. Meghan has framed her platform around resilience, identity, and reclaiming space. Projects have launched, deals have shifted, and results have been mixed the way most creative ventures are. A rumor like this presses the spine of that platform. Supporters argue autonomy includes the right to keep one chapter sealed. Skeptics argue that when authenticity is your calling card, the audience expects fewer locked rooms. Both positions tug at the same thread. Credibility. If a hidden chapter exists, some will say it undercuts the message. If it doesn't, the rumor itself becomes Exhibit A in how a gap can distort a narrative. Either way, the brand faces a stress test, and viewers decide in real time whether the voice feels steady, sincere, and worth listening to tomorrow. Speculation thrives on imagined documents. Whispered NDAs around courtiers and staff feed a cinematic image, vaults, keys, and one form that could flip the narrative overnight. In reality, confidentiality exists for practical reasons: security, schedules, logistics, and it exists in royal circles and Hollywood alike. But pair that ordinary reality with a rumor about a hidden branch of a family tree, and the imagination runs. People love the thought of one sheet of paper ending the argument, the definitive page that lands like a gavel. That visual is powerful, but it is also misleading because real stories are rarely solved by one stamp or one signature. When documents matter, they matter because they connect with witnesses and verifiable context. Without that triangle, paper, people, and dates, noise sounds like truth. So while the vault narrative sells, the sober version remains. Unless records become public alongside voices, the rumor stays a rumor, not a revelation. Motives become the next battleground. One camp suggests that if a teenage decision did happen, shielding it may have protected someone never built for a global spotlight. Another camp argues that protecting early privacy later became protecting brand coherence. The first reads as compassion, the second reads as control. The truth, if any truth exists here, could be an untidy combination. Memory bends after years of retelling. Myth grows wherever the light is dim. Marketing threads through both until even the people at the center can't separate lived moments from edited ones. Add permanent visibility and the blur intensifies. A shy pause is read as strategy. An honest answer is clipped into something spicy. The longer the mystery lingers, the more each side settles in. Yet behind the noise sits a simple standard that never changes. Clarity arrives with names, dates, and records that match, not with volume or style. So what do we know, and what remains rumor? We know there is a gap that people analyze like detectives. We know some commentators have floated a quick Vegas ceremony and a pregnancy aligned with that period. We know no public proof has settled the question. We know the topic keeps returning because it intersects with identity, motherhood, and power, subjects people never stop debating. Beyond that line, cautious phrasing matters. Reports claim, some allege, and rumors suggest are not weak words. They are the correct ones until documents or witnesses appear. For Harry and Meghan, the test is resolve and patience. If the rumor is empty, it will wither when clarity arrives. If the rumor holds truth, it will force a conversation about what belongs to the public and what never did. Either way, the next beat depends on receipts, not noise, and that is why the world keeps listening for footsteps.